Assalamualaikum and greetings to all. We from Group 6 will present to you about our topic, which is Your Eyes Are Suffering. Without further ado, let's get into the details of our topic. First and foremost, eyes are a pair of specialized sense organs that are capable of receiving visual images which are then carried to the brain. The moment light meets the retina, the process of sight begins. In this digital age, people spend most of their time in front of screens, which leads to excessive screen time. This could cause eye strain, which is caused by the blue light emitted. But the question here is, what is actually blue light and how can it affect our eyes? Blue light has a short wavelength and could lead to serious damage to eye tissue. Unfortunately, people seem to have a lack of care for their eyes, especially during these pandemic times. Therefore, we would like to urge the public to start caring for their eyes. There are several important parts of eyes we should acknowledge and learn to make sure we can take care of our eyes carefully. In terms of anatomy, the eye has many parts that must work together. The lens, retina, and optic nerve are several important parts of the eye that allow it to transform light and electrical signals into image. The sclera protects the eyeball and the pupil of our eyes in an opening through which the light can enter. It seems like everyone is staring at a computer screen, phone, or their digital device these days. It has caused a widespread problem called digital eye strain to us. But how can digital eye strain happen? Our eyes blink considerably less than 18 times per minute when we stare at the screen for an extended period of time. Eye strain undergoes changes in the tear fluid and our eyes will become dry and itchy, or also known as burning eyes. Posture and the ergonomics of one's workspace are also contributing factors to this problem. Lastly, blue light is a part of the light spectrum that lies between UV and visible light and can cause damage to the retinal cells. Now, let's move on to the next part, which is on how computer vision syndrome can lead to eye injury, and let's see how it happens. The eyes have to push extra while seeing a computer or a digital screen and cause blurred vision. Images or text are not as precise or sharply defined as the level of contrast is reduced, and the presence of glare and reflections on the screen may make viewing difficult. The movement of the eyes to concentrate puts an additional strain on the visual system. Incorrect or undercorrected vision problems can be major contributing factors to computer-related eye strain. Now, let's see this interview session.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for joining our webinar titled Your Eyes Are Suffering. Here as your moderator, my name is Natasha Ashura from Group 6. Without further ado, let me introduce our panelists for today. We have our first panelist, which is Miss Anissa, a postgraduate student from the National University of Malaysia. Next, we also have Miss Husna as our second panelist. Joining us for today, she is also a postgraduate student from the National University of Malaysia. Now that we know our panelists for today's webinar, let us move to the Q&A session. The first question goes to Miss Anissa. Miss Anissa, since many jobs nowadays require hours spent in front of a computer and most of our free time spent streaming shows on television and scrolling social media on phones, many of us spend consecutive hours looking at screen, especially during the pandemic when most of our social interactions are online. Are there any negative effects that we need to worry about? Would you care to explain to us about the consequences of excessive screen time?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Ashura. It is extremely important that we know how much damage excessive screen time could bring to our eyes. A few years ago, the average screen time for adults in the United States landed at 11 hours per day. Since lockdown, this number has gone up to an astonishing 19 hours per day on screens during the pandemic. The widely known effects of too much screen time are nearsightedness, farsightedness, and eye strain, and this could cause lasting effects on our vision. Nearsightedness, also what we call in medical term myopia, is the most common vision problem where the eyes are unable to focus on things that are far away. Studies have shown and described nearsightedness as progressively younger age of onset and accelerated myopic progression, which is why it often occurs among children and young adults, especially those who spend more time indoors than outdoors. Farsightedness, on the other hand, is the opposite of nearsightedness. Farsightedness, also known as hyperopia, is when the eye focuses an image slightly behind the retina, making it difficult to see objects up close but can see distant objects clearly. Excessive screen time may also lead to eye strain. Intense staring at the screen with either inadequate or excessive lighting causes fatigue and discomfort to your eyes. Symptoms of eye strain can include headache, blurred vision, and a pulling sensation.
Thank you, Ms. Anissa, for the brief explanation on the effects of spending too much time staring at the screen. Now that we know the bad effects, we have to learn how to take care of them. Let us now hear a few eye care tips from Ms. Husna. Ms. Husna, the mic is yours.
Thanks, Ms. Ashura, for the question. It is great to be here sharing with the people a few tips about eye care which are recommended from the Vision Care expert to avoid digital eye strain and maintain a more comfortable vision while using digital devices. So, some of the tips that I can share is first, take frequent breaks while using digital devices. It is suggested by the experts to use the 20-20-20 rule when you use the electronic devices that requires us to have a break for every 20 minutes by looking away for 20 seconds and focusing on something from 20 feet away. The next tip is to use artificial tears or lubricant drops to relieve the symptoms of eye dryness, as it happens when you tend to blink less while staring at the screen, causing dry eye effects. Other tips that can help to minimize the effects to your eyes includes reducing overhead lighting to reduce screen glare, keep your eyes an arm's distance away from the screen, and increase the text size on your device to see screen content more easily. The impact of too much screen time on your eyes can be easily avoided if you take steps to reduce your eye discomfort, but please take an early precaution by having an eye checkup if the simple tips that I have mentioned before do not help.
Thank you so much, Ms. Husna, for the tips given, and I hope everyone, regardless of any age, pays attention to the tips and focuses on your eye care. As we near to the end of our webinar, we can now learn that our eyes are one of the most important senses, where almost 80% of what we perceive come through our sense of sight. By protecting your eyes, you will reduce the odds of blindness and vision loss, while also staying on top of any developing disease. Always try to reduce eye strain while looking at the screen by following the tips given and act fast when you notice a sign of your vision changing. Last but not least, the importance of eye care is to make sure that we are less likely to get the eye injury, and as a precaution. It looks like we covered all of our questions for today. Thank you to all of the panelists for joining us for today's webinar, and remember to care for your eyes because you may not get them again. Thank you.